If you enjoy watching movies on the big screen, there's a good chance you've probably seen a film at one of the Marcus Theater locations across Northeast Wisconsin. Well, tonight, as we continue to highlight Latinos in our community for Hispanic Heritage Month, NBC 26's Valerie Juarez introduces us to a Wisconsin businessman who happens to be the leader of that movie chain.
Rolando Rodríguez es orgullosamente cubano.
Who would think that, a kid from Cuba would have ended up in a little bit of a colder climate, I must say, than what I was used to.
The man who immigrated to the U.S. at age 11 came with his family fleeing communist regime. He now lives in Wisconsin and runs the nation's fourth largest cinema chain. Rodriguez is the president, CEO, and chairman of Marcus Theaters.
One of the reasons of really getting into this industry is that in Cuba, you basically went swimming, playing baseball, and you went to the movies with the families.
His passion for the cinema industry, which initially began in Cuba, is truly what kicked off his career. And today, while Rodriguez may be seen wearing a suit and tie, making all these important decisions, it's important to note that the man who now brings his Latino perspective to the table started from the ground up.
So frankly, when we got to the States, one of the funnest jobs that I could find was working at a movie theater at the age of 15. And so basically tearing tickets and working at the concession stand.
So how exactly did Rodriguez go from ticket taker to CEO? He explains he worked with AMC Theaters for about 30 years in various roles before going to work for the business side of Walmart. That experience then made him the perfect candidate for a CEO opening for another theater company named Rave Cinemas.
And that gave me my first entry into being a CEO. What I always tell people is try to reinvent yourself. And so every 2 years or so, I was doing something different. So I did everything from marketing, food and beverage, real estate, HR, training, operations. And so that gave me a broad view of basically all of the elements on how to be a successful business person.
The man of humble beginnings has never forgotten where he came from, making each milestone he's ever achieved even more rewarding.
I know what it's like to be poor. In Cuba, many times my entire meal for the day was a piece of bread with sugar.
When he first arrived to the U.S., he says he witnessed the hard work from his parents as they began to cultivate the foundations for a better future.
My parents were obviously no means, barely any clothing and barely any money. And we worked, we basically lived in the projects. So for 2 years, we lived in the projects. And I watched my parents through multiple jobs each raise enough money, and they bought their first home, $11,000 furnished, after 2 years.
Seeing his parents' sweat and tears allowed him to see what opportunities could come out of hard work and dedication.
But look, it's been a great journey for a Latino and a Hispanic to obviously reach, what I think it's a pinnacle position. Not an easy one, but you know what? Nothing in life is easy. And certainly I would tell you that before getting here, there were a lot of barriers along the way, and there were certainly a lot of roads to cross.
Rodriguez shares it's not too common seeing other Latinos in these types of positions of power. Moving forward, he hopes to continue to show young people that they can aspire to do bigger and better things. He believes they just need to be inspired, just as he once was. In Green Bay, Valerie Juarez, NBC 26.
I love getting that background information of someone in Wisconsin building themselves up from the ground up. How inspiring. Valerie, thank you.